Great. Hello, everyone. I forgot to say when I introduced myself that I do also do proper work as well as being commercial director. I am the account manager for our health libraries. And I know there are a lot of health library colleagues here today. So I'm really looking forward to our session when we break out this afternoon. So I'm going to give you a roundup of what's been going on at Open Fifth in the last 12 months or so, and also touch on some of the work we do with the open source communities that we work so closely with. Our biggest news of the year, and if you've been a customer of ours since before March 2025, you'll know what this news is, but no spoilers. We used to be this. But we're not that anymore because we changed our name and now we are Open Fifth. And we changed our name, as pretty much everyone in here will know, in March of this year, following a phase of probably, I don't know, 8 years of deliberation. I joined in, as I said, in 2019 in all of that deliberation. And we finally plucked up courage to, in 2022, refresh the brand, not change the name. And then finally, in 2025, change the name to Open Fifth. And we're very delighted with how that went. We thank our customers for working with us and embracing the change. And we've had good feedback. People seem to like it. I have complaints from Germany and from France. I should say that Fiona was mentioning that she's traveled a long way. Well, Daniel actually from Henkel has come all the way from Germany to be with us today. So he may, as far as I know, be the longest traveled person to get to us today. But Germans found it a bit difficult to pronounce Open Fifth, and the French as well, apparently. So, but anyway, it's helping with their language. So that's what I say. We were really pleased to make the name change, and if you read the blurb, it means something to Jonathan and I because it relates to a musical term, and Jonathan and I first met 6 years ago, singing in a choir. And there's actually a little nod to our musical past as well in the crotchet note that is part of our logo. If you didn't spot that, then there it is. So there we go. Open Fifth is a musical interval. Now, normally when I do these roundups, I give you some team news, who's arrived, who's new, who's retired. And actually in 2025, there've been no changes at all. We've stayed exactly as we were at the last company, at the last one of these customer meetings. So I thought instead of giving you the team news, I'd tell you about how we operate as an organization and how professional we are as an organization in supporting you as libraries. We have this thing called our morning call, and we get together. We're a virtual company, so we all live scattered all over the place, and we get together every morning at 9:15 and discuss the important business of the day, which ranges from the wrong kind of clay on European train gauges, the acceptable date to turn the heating on, LED headlights, windy weather, buttons in cars or the lack of them, 18th century diarists, foggy weather, Fula in Shetland, and why drone delivery for Amazon parcels might be an issue up there, Lithuanian cold beetroot soup, which is called something unpronounceable, rainy weather, tickle on the tongue theme tune, gravy on chips on everything, classy stationery, sunny weather in the Azores. We have one member of staff who lives in the Azores, and he reports nearly every day how sunny the weather is. Allotment reports, and what we call our cars, phones, bikes, and the joys of Angel Delights. So we're a very professional company who like to discuss a wide range of topics each morning. That actually is a snapshot of the last couple of months only. These topics are many and various. What I wanted to say with this is we pride ourselves in how friendly we are, how approachable we are, and how open and honest we are. It's one of our values to be open and honest in everything we do. And we act in our business and in our work lives with the same spirit with each other, and with our customers. So that's why I put this up. And there we all are. So that's all of us. Obviously meeting a few of us today in the room, but this was at our last to one company meeting in December last year. It was sunny in Warwickshire. And then if you want to, we'll get these slides out to you afterwards. That is actually our structure. So that's who we all are to have as a reference point. Now, more important than us is customers. And we've been delighted to welcome a huge range of different customers to work with us over the past 12 months. We continue to work very deeply in partnership with NHS England and the NHS libraries across the whole of England. And we finished off the migration for University Hospitals Manchester into the Northwest system. In the spring of this year, we're completing just about a proof of concept with Yorkshire for Aspen as a potential option for discovery. We've done a huge amount of development work in conjunction with NHS England around ILL and more to come. And we've just started on a migration for the southwest and the northeast of England systems to use Koha. Then we've had a number of different Koha migrations covering education library services, Janssen Manor is a small theological college library in Oxfordshire, Norwich Biosciences, a little scientific library, Haythorpe Library, I'm not even sure what Haythorpe is, Helen? Theological as well. So that's, yeah, we've got a few now, theological colleges, great. Yeah. West Sussex are currently in implementation and they will go live in January. We're very excited about that, starting immediately with Koha, Aspen and Metabase. So this is a very big project. And they're also investing in some development, which is great. Richmond College did a merger into the Harrow system. Another colleges group, another health-related library, a couple of international libraries in unpronounceable Milansiu and Daskenes Historia online, which both have joined us. They're existing Koha users, but they've joined us with our support and hosting in the last year. And then a couple of smaller scientific libraries in the Marine Biological and Molecular Biology laboratory. And then another college, and I've skipped over the Ministry of Justice. Very excited to have them on board also. So a great addition to the family of open fifth libraries, but more importantly to the open source world of Koha. Just in terms of where we've been, and normally you get some pictures from me of my travels. They're coming up. But we have been to a multitude of national and international conferences to make sure we keep on top of what's going on. State of OpenCon, Jonathan didn't go to that one. That was another one. Martin and Lauren and I were at that. That's a really interesting conference in London in the early part of the year for anyone who's interested in open source more broadly. I would heartily recommend that because all the very, very big, important people in the open source world are there and presenting and talking about the big movements in the movement generally. CILIP, we do a lot with CILIP and with Libraries Connected. There are a couple of other specific sectoral conferences there as well. Internationally, we always go to the Koha Hackfest in Marseille. This year was no exception, and the sun did shine, and it was really hard to be there for a week. But we do some really good work as well, I promise. And it's when all the developers get together, and we have a big team here at OpenFIFth now working in the Koha community. There are 7 in total, headed up by Martin, and all of us, I say us, I go to supervise. But the developers are all working with all the other developers through the week and actually do get work done. That is the purpose. And the OpenFIFth developers now have a lot of projects that they're taking to that community of developers each year and making good progress on new features, more on which Martin will be talking about in his presentation. The conference Jonathan and I went to was the Open Source Founders Summit in Paris. That was also really, really interesting gathering of leaders and movers in open source. And I think one of the big takeaways we had from that was the wider open sources community's uncertainty about how to embrace AI in open source software. And also there was a lot of discussion about digital sovereignty, really, about whether the European part of the world needs to claim more ownership and sovereignty over its data, its systems, its infrastructure from a technological point of view, because we've seen examples recently in the last few weeks of the impact of having too much reliance on US-based systems and US-based technology and infrastructure and software, and the overreach, in a way, of US architecture and technology into European spaces. So there is discussion in the open source communities about how the leaders of those projects can help with that and work with the European Commission on steps to take more sovereignty ownership of what we do technologically around the open source world. So it was very interesting. We also attended, this isn't me, I didn't go to all of these things, I didn't go to Tennessee. But some people did. Lauren went, and three of our developers were there as well. So that was really good representation. I did go to the Coadach Hackfest in Göttingen as one of our German speakers, which is another Hackfest, another gathering of developers, and I go to support. And then KohaCon is coming up, and Auld is getting on a plane tonight to go to New Zealand. Sorry, what did I say? I never listed Gothenburg. Fiona went to Gothenburg. That was, yes, I didn't list Gothenburg. You're right. I meant to put it in. At Hackfest in Marseille, Chris Cormack. So this year, and we're celebrating in New Zealand at KohaCon the 25th year of Koha. It's 25 years since Chris Cormack first wrote the first line of code for Koha and worked with libraries in New Zealand to develop the Koha that has become what it is today, and gift, Koha means gift that project to the world. And Chris at Marseille this year, he attended, the first time in a while, he attended the Hackfest, and he wrote a poem. Now that's only the first verse, it's a 7-stanza thing of wonder, and there's a link to it there. So when we send these slides out, you can go and read Chris's view on working at Hackfest. And his further stanzas mention beer. Here are the pictures. So that is Marseille Hackfest. This was an event we held, I think, in August, just across the hall. At Kensington Library, I was there a couple of weeks ago with Lauren, doing a social value project there. That's Sam, who can't be with us today. I can't remember where that was. I think in the health conference, possibly. This is one of our health libraries. So this is one of our smaller, this is in Sheffield. I went and did some work there for a day, which was great. They were very welcoming there. Someone in the room might recognize this. Oh, there you go. This is a London library, a London health library. This was at the State of OpenCon. Couldn't resist putting that slide up. And then this was the year's best and worst venue for a conference. So it was in, what was the building? The Guildhall in London. Great building, great room, great place, except it was pitch dark. So this was sort of the best lighting we could have. And the sandwiches were dreadful. So we're hoping for better sandwiches here today. And we know we'll get them. This was the Dachkor Hackfest. And this is in front of a building at the Göttingen University campus, who were hosting us. And they were hosting us in, so that building and that building, you can see there are 3 floors on the left-hand building. And the right-hand building has no windows, but it's just as high and just as big. And that was the data center. And it's one of the most highly performing green data centers in the world, I think. They showed us round. It was all very top secret, and we had to go in through airlocks and all sorts of exciting things like that. But it was fascinating to see, for me, how even though it's one of the greenest on the planet, how much has gone into building that thing in terms of resources and how much it does take to run that thing. And there were a few cupboards of computers in the middle of a massive, great big room. So they're doing lots of very, very complicated calculations, we were told, but it's amazing what goes into supporting this cloud world of software that we work in. So that was fascinating to see. There is Alexander presenting at AspenCon and Lauren also at AspenCon. And then I did say I'd put a holiday snap in there. This is a Marseille view of the Val organizes the most wonderful accommodation for us when we travel. We usually stay in an Airbnb as a group, and this one was overlooking that. I mean, you can't argue with that, can you? There's so much to talk about in terms of development, but I'm not going to talk about any of it because Martin's going to tell you all about it. But if you get a chance, have a listen to that video at some point. It's on our YouTube site. And that's Alexander and Chloe and Martin talking about our development processes and how we work with the communities that we work in. It's a really great little watch. From an infrastructure perspective, Jonathan's going to talk about one of the major challenges we've had this year and in the recent years around fighting against the AI bot invasion. But I won't steal any thunder. In terms of other work, we've done a lot of upgrades with you all. We've migrated. We were undertaking a big migration project over the last 2 years to migrate all of us, well, a big chunk of our servers from one provider to another. That's now complete, and we're now underway with URL changes for those that want to and are happy to change away from the PTFS URL that they might be using. And we are also well under or have been working very hard deploying two protective measures against the AI bots, Anubis and Cloudflare, and Jonathan will talk more about that. There's been a huge increase to the automation that we do around your technical infrastructure. We talked about some of this last year, and this year we've nearly managed all of the upgrades automatically with human supervision, but they've been run essentially as automated upgrades, and we're looking to move to complete automation on upgrades next year. And very importantly for everyone, and for anyone who's ever asked me to fill out a DPIA or a security audit form of some kind, we have renewed and actually been accredited for the first time under the 2022 version of the ISO 27001 standard. Prior to that, we were on the previous 2017 version. And we have renewed our Cyber Essentials and, importantly, our Cyber Essentials Plus certification. In terms of what we've been up to, talking to everyone out there about what we do a huge amount of that too. If you've not already heard of what's on our mind as a customer of ours, then please follow that link to our YouTube channel, where every week we publish a short video for your edification on some small topic or other around usually some technical aspects of the software, be it Koha or Aspen, and then occasionally it's something a little bit more esoteric, like Jonathan and I talking to you from Paris or something like that. But mostly it's useful and informative stuff about the software you're using every day. And then slightly less informative, but just as enjoyable, is what's on our shelves, which is the open fifth roundup of what we're reading, what we're watching on the box, and what we enjoy to take in our holiday suitcase to read. We've published all those videos. We've got loads of views on YouTube. Open discussions we've held, and if you don't and never attended one of those, they're well attended and enjoyed, we think, by our customers who come along on a wide range of different topics. And specifically around Aspen, Auld runs 3 times a year, Aspen in Action webinar, which again is proving to be very good learning and knowledge sharing. And Jonathan, Sam and I recently did a presentation at, and there's the link to that, so if you want to watch that, Ken Chad, who's a consultant in the library information management space, he hosts a website called HE LibTech, which focuses on HE libraries and the technology they use. And we had a good webinar there talking about open source provision for library technology. So that's interesting if you're in that space. And then if you haven't joined and don't know about the community channels of communication, there's the Koha UK channels in Mattermost and the libraries channel in Mattermost. And I haven't put a link to it there, but there's the Aspen Slack community channel as well. I thought I'd put that somewhere, but anyway, obviously I haven't. And a link to the newsletters that you can sign up to for Aspen. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. This is us, the sun shines on Open Fifth, and we're really delighted to have you here and can't wait to hear the rest of the talks for today. Thank you very much.